I'm Alexandra, 65. Standing in the beautiful house that should have been mine all along, I'm filled with a mix of relief and anger as I recall the events that led me here. Just a few months ago, I was living in a dilapidated garage, believing it was the best my children could offer me. It all came to a head on my 65th birthday. My son, Ethan, a successful entrepreneur in his 35s, and my daughter, Victoria, a 33-year-old marketing executive, came to celebrate with me. Ethan, looking dapper in his designer suit, asked with a big smile, "Mom, are you happy with the apartment I got you?" I couldn't hold it in any longer and whispered, "Son, I live in the garage." Victoria dropped her wine glass at my words. The shattering sound echoed in the small, cold space. I saw a look on her face, not of shock but of recognition. She had known all along that I was living in this dismal garage, while she let Ethan believe I was in a proper apartment. Ethan's face turned as white as a sheet. He couldn't believe what I was saying. "No, Mom, this is the apartment. The garage apartment, separate from the main house," he stammered. But as I showed him around, pointing out the exposed water heater, the lack of insulation, and the single electrical outlet, he started to realize the truth. I remembered the sacrifices I'd made for my children. When Ethan was 18 and Victoria was 16, their father, David, passed away. The life insurance money was quickly used up, and I had to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. Ethan got into Stanford, a dream come true for our family. I sold our family home to pay for his tuition, even though Victoria was furious. She couldn't understand why we had to give up our comfortable life. After Ethan graduated with honors and started his own business, he wanted to take care of me. But somehow, Victoria inserted herself between us. Whenever Ethan tried to do more for me, Victoria would manage the situation. When I had trouble paying rent on my old apartment, Victoria suggested I move to what she said was a perfect place. She brought me the keys and showed me around the garage in a hurry, pointing out some non-existent charming features. I was so grateful, thinking my son was looking out for me. But the truth started to unravel. Ethan mentioned the expensive heating bills he'd been paying. I told him those were for the main house, not the garage. Victoria tried to cover it up, saying the main house needed extensive renovations. But when we went to the main house, it was clear she was lying. The house was beautifully furnished, with a fully stocked refrigerator and modern amenities. Victoria defiantly said she lived there sometimes when she needed space. She even claimed she was protecting Ethan from my constant burdens. Ethan was in shock. He realized she had been intercepting his attempts to care for me, redirecting his generosity for her own gain. We also discovered that Ethan had set up a trust fund for me 3 years ago, but Victoria never told me about it. She had depleted the trust fund, along with an emergency fund and a medical expense account, spending the money on designer clothes, cars, and vacations while I scraped by on my small social security check. I finally found the courage to stand up to her. I told her to get out of my house. Ethan transferred the deed of the house to me and gave me full access to all the accounts that should have been mine. Victoria lashed out, calling me needy and pathetic, but I was no longer the woman who would accept her cruelty silently. 2 weeks later, a private investigator hired by Victoria's husband, Ryan, came to me. He found that Victoria had been hiding assets, including a savings account in my name. The account had nearly $40,000, which was made up of Social Security overpayments, Medicare reimbursements, and proceeds from a life insurance policy that David had. It turned out she was planning to claim I was incompetent and use the money to support that narrative. I decided to press charges against her for financial elder abuse, identity theft, and fraud. 6 months later, Victoria pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now I'm learning to live a life free from fear. I've enrolled in a Master Gardener program, joined a book club, and even started dating. Ethan and his wife, Lily, who is pregnant with my first grandchild, have included me in every aspect of their lives. And I've also met my granddaughter, Ava, through Ryan's sister. I'm finally learning to forgive myself for all the years I believed I was worth less. I'm learning that I deserve love, respect, and a life of dignity. It took a lifetime, but I finally found my power.